Breaking news, reports are coming in that Meghan Markle could now be fired by her agency WME. Whoo! Endgame has really ended her. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef the Alternate, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye, and oh my goodness, yeah, let's really jump into this, shall we, because yes, breaking news, reports are coming through that yes, Megxie could actually be dropped by WME because they are absolutely horrified at Endgame and the fallout that has happened since its release. So speaking on GB News, Angela Levin told Patrick Christys that William Morris Endeavour, i.e. WME, are absolutely horrified about the consequences that Endgame has created as a result from its release. Now, according to Angela Levin, the rekindling of the race row in particular is what's got WME's back up, and this now could have damaging results for Megxie, including her being dropped, being fired, being done with the agency. Now, she says, quote, they said they were, quote, horrified. That can't just be about the two names that were mentioned. It must be about their client, Meghan. And we'll get into that in a moment. But Angela Levin continues to say, it seems to me that they will think very carefully what they do next. I've never heard such a well-known agency be clear with how they feel. Meghan needs to be very careful. A lot of people have dropped her, and that is absolutely true. I mean, the main one, of course, is Spotify, right? But the rumours still continue to persist that Netflix is just right around the corner to fire her and has her as well, right? So Angela Levin continues, the agency have told her to stop moaning because people are getting fed up with it. And yeah, we are. We got fed up with it like years ago. So, you know, welcome to the club, WME. She continues to say, if they feel they have an even harder job to do in order to get famous, it's going to be difficult. Now, questioned by the presenter Patrick Christys as to whether the talent agency may fire Megxie, Angela will be like, yeah. Totally. I mean, rumours are abound that WME are desperate to drop Megxie. She apparently, rumours, is a very difficult client and no one wants to touch her with a 10-foot barge pole, right? A lot of people in Hollywood are considering her as poisonous, radioactive, and that any association with Megxie is going to have a negative effect on them. And since WME signed Megxie back in April, there's not really been any announcements via WME of any deals, any endorsements, or anything like that where Megxie is going to make money for her and the agency. It's pretty much been, as far as I'm concerned, radio silence, right? So Angela Levin then says it is going to be very difficult to get the glamour she wants. Now, Patrick Christys kind of fought back a little bit, pushed back, suggesting that WME will likely see Megxie as an asset, adding she could make them a lot of money. But like I said earlier on, as far as I can tell, she pretty much made zilch for them, so whatever, right? And Angela Levin said they could make lots of money, but I think she's someone who needs to be adored all the time by the public. Now, it comes after a source told The Express that Megxie's talent team are absolutely horrified at this never-ending scandal that just doesn't seem to go away. And here is the Express article here. Megxie's aides, her agency, are horrified and exasperated as Endgame is just set to trash her career to smithereens. Now, Hazza and Megxie throughout this week have been urged to distance themselves publicly from both Omid Scobie and Endgame to denounce him or risk fallout from Endgame destroying any future that they've got left in America. Apparently, Megxie's agencies last night were, well, as of the writing of the article, were said to be horrified and exasperated that the couple's popularity continues to just decrease further and further and further, and it's decreased even more now since Endgame's been released and the quote to royal racists were named, right? So across the Atlantic, there's a source here in the name of Mr. Cole saying that there's so far been a deafening silence from Hazard and Megxie in Montecito. And to me, the silence is saying everything, right, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they were very, very quick, right, to try and combat more recent reports that they weren't going to the Duke of Westminster's wedding because they didn't want the circus, they didn't want to cause a scene, blah, 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 right? However, they're not quick off the mark to denounce essentially sensitive information from Megxie's letter to her father-in-law, the King of England, being leaked. Denouncing that, Omid, and the release of it. Interesting, right? Like I said, the silence is saying everything to me. What do you think? However, apparently WME are horrified and exasperated by the never-ending scandal, and that threatens to, quote, take a wrecking ball to Hazard and Megxie's future plans in Hollywood. Now, a source told The Express, quote, there are potential deals on the table for Meghan that could just as quickly vanish if this continues. Aside from the race row, even the American public is growing wary of mean-spirited and downright cruel attacks on Princess Kate. And that's absolutely true. I mean, you can see that reflected in one of the recent Family Guy episodes where Hazard and Megxie are absolutely, like, I don't know, roasted to death. America, I think, sees them as a joke. I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of the impression I'm getting right now. America is seeing Hazard and Megxie as a joke, not to be taken seriously. And with their popularity declining in America, it looks like America can't stand them, equal to us over in the UK. We can't stand them either. Now, the source continues saying whether or not Meghan and Harry were the source of these, let's say, the leaks of the royal races, people will simply assume they were because of their past connections with Omid Scobie. And that's really referencing there, as far as I'm concerned, the past connection with Omid Scobie and finding freedom. And yeah, so many of us are like, I've been in conspiracy theory, whatever. Who else could he have got those names from? Who else could he have known specific, sensitive details like that from a letter, from a correspondence that was only supposed to be between Megxie and the King of England? I don't think the King of England would want to out himself as a, quote, royal racist, which, by the way, I do not believe whatsoever for one moment that he is, or the Princess of Wales. So, miss me with that BS, right? So that to me only leaves only one more person party to that letter, right? You know that iRobot quote, my logic is undeniable? That's kind of what's in my head right now. If anyone actually gets that reference, super nerd points to you guys. Now, the source continues saying unless they immediately distance themselves from him and denounce his book as either untrue or reported out of context, then they must expect to be part of the backlash against it. So they can't go, wah, when they're silent all over it and they're not denouncing it and they're not publicly, you know, trying to distance themselves from Omid Scobie and Endgame. They can't have it both ways, guys. So the source then continues to say if they aren't seen to distance themselves from him, a string of deals being negotiated for Meghan, as well as their production company Archewell, could all come undone at the drop of a hat, if it's not being done so already. They're in a very difficult situation, and now they must figure out how to navigate their way out before any more damage is done. Their very future as anything like a Hollywood power couple absolutely depends on that. They're not in a very difficult situation as far as I'm concerned. The choice is extremely clear. You either denounce the release of sensitive information from a private letter that was only supposed to be between Megxie and the King of England, right? And distance yourself away from Omid Scobie and Endgame or not. If you publicly do it, then you're publicly announcing that you're not a part of it, right? If you don't do it and you're silent, well, there's certain then implications that are then thought upon because of said silence. You know what I mean? But with that being said, just going full circle, yes, reports are now coming out that yeah, we are now in a reality whereby Megxie is now at risk of being fired by WME because of the massive fallout since Endgame was released. that reports have been coming through previous to this that Meg's agency are absolutely horrified and exasperated with the consequences of Endgame and really want her to distance herself publicly from it all, and she hasn't. They're not happy with the silence, and her Hollywood career, as well as Hazard's, is now in danger. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, believe me, of course there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our alternate tribe. I'll be honest with you, help us get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there and hopefully cause a Christopher Boozy meltdown on Twitter. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also as well, if you've got some very strong opinions about what I've just discussed, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.